I had terrible habits. I mean, terrible habits, like injectable Demerol, like every drug under the sun. I loved strippers. I was married. I had a bunch of girlfriends, and I was miserable. And I mean miserable. I had just sold a company for about $90 million, and I tried to commit suicide then. Like crazy shit, huh? And I tried to commit suicide 2 times. And the one time that I did, I almost had $70 million in cash, you know? And, but I didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. And everybody kept saying, I looked like, to my friends, it looked like I had the perfect life. I had a wife, 2 kids, bunch of girlfriends, all the money I could spend, airplanes that looked great. And I was hanging on by a thread every day. I cried almost every night. Something was wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was. So one thing led to another, and I ended up drinking the medicine, and I was shown a video, but a real video, not like a video, but a video that I could interact with, yeah? I was shown a video of my grandfather molesting me as a little boy, and it explained everything to me. It explained why I was crazy. I knew why I couldn't have a relationship with women. I knew why I didn't trust any men, and it just all made sense to me. And the next day after seeing that, well, they actually came and merged my soul back and gave me a new heart. It sounds crazy as fuck, yeah, right? Yeah. But it happened. And then the next day I was whatever normal is. I was normal for the first time in my life. Yeah. I was talking to people. Before this, I couldn't even have this conversation with you.
It seems far more vivid and far more real than this life right now. And there are these things that are there, and they communicate with you, and they seem to be really communicating with you, and they seem to also know you, know all of your bullshit, and be able to see right through you.
Yes.
But they don't seem to be you. They seem to be something else.
Right.
Like you could say that's a well of souls, that's what happens when you die, that's the afterlife, that's a parallel dimension, these are aliens, that's how they can communicate with us, they're non-physical life forms that exist in these realms of light. We don't know.
So the first couple times I took ayahuasca, I did not feel it all that much. I was kind of waiting for something to happen. I felt relatively bored during the somewhat longer ceremonial type experience where you're with kind of a group of people and they're shamans and stuff, and I felt just like I was sitting there a little bit. I had the suspicion it just wasn't hitting me, but in those moments I was kind of disappointed. Well, that third night was similar. Even though I went into that third night feeling a sense of respect, like I had a feeling this is gonna be the night for me, and I was right. Oh my goodness. But still, I took my first cup. Sometimes you'll take multiple cups, and I felt nothing. In fact, I went up after about an hour, and I asked the women there, I said, can I have another cup? I'm not feeling it. And they looked at me like, you don't know what's coming yet, buddy. And they're like, no, you're gonna wait. We'll do another round and we'll let you know. I said, okay, you know. So I went back to my seat, kind of like a little bit cocky and impatient. I laid down there and just kind of chilling, looking around. And finally the shaman said, oh, you know, they lit their candle and it was time for the second round. A lot of people didn't get up, and I was surprised. Like, man, is everyone, I wish I would have thought, I wish that would have occurred to me. Maybe there's a reason very few people are getting up. Maybe you just haven't been hit yet, Vic. But I was in my own little world, my own little cocky bubble, honestly. So I got up there, I felt like they could tell I had not been hit yet, and I was kind of disappointed. And I remember I could just sense this person gave me kind of a big cup because they knew I needed it. And I went back to my seat, waited, nothing happened. In fact, I had my notebook, a little bit different, but it was like a notebook like this, and I was like sitting up on my, kind of leaning against my arm, writing. And then all of a sudden, at once, like a freight train, I felt this incredible, like, pit in my stomach, like, almost like if you've seen a ghost or something, like, like it was like that. And then this wave of powerful energy just sort of stormed over me all at once. And it was like, oh my goodness. It wasn't gradual, it wasn't sneaky, it just boom. It came on like a light. And there was nothing, I knew I had maybe a matter of moments to lay down and get comfortable, and I probably wasn't going anywhere for quite some time. That's exactly what I did. I laid down, and it was like, it was immediately evident to me that this was not a drug or a substance with some kind of predictable effects. It was an interaction with an incredibly intelligent and powerful presence, being, spirit. They had its own independent intelligence and power about it. There are many different types and categories of experiences, as I have been taught anyway, and what happened to me was the variety of what people refer to as a surgery. This is gonna sound weird, this is exactly what happened to me though, straight up. It was like the being wanted to do, or decided to do, the surgery experience. And the way this goes down is you're laying there and you feel put under, just as if you were, if you've ever had surgery, I have, they put on this gas mask on, right? You know, they say breathe, count back from 100, in 2 seconds you're out, that kind of thing. And it has that exact same smell. I swear to you, you start to smell that exact stuff, and your face, your mouth and face go numb. Your extremities, your hands, your limbs, your feet, they start to kind of numb out. And that's incredibly unnerving because it can't help, at least for me, beg the question, why am I being so buffered from this? Is it gonna be so over the top that I'm gonna need to be put under a little bit? It was racing through my head, like what the hell? I was kind of warned about this experience, and it's actually a very positive thing, but in the moment it was like overwhelming for me. So I laid there, and I just felt a tremendous amount of like spiritual type of like energy rushing through my body. It wasn't like a physical energy, like like your hand falling asleep and then waking up. It wasn't physical. It was like this subtle energy that was very palpable and noticeable, was just sort of coursing through my body as I was being worked on by this being. And it took me a couple of times to realize like what was happening. Initially I felt overtaken. I felt like invaded, intruded upon. Like, what is all this? And I was like regretting doing this. This is freaking intense. This is like, I don't like this at all. I felt like there was this other thing and it had control over me. It took me a couple times to really settle in and realize what it was doing. It was only my interpretation of the experience that made it intense for me. I get choked up because I normally don't like to pause this long, but the depth of love this being has for you, for us, is so unspeakable. I realize it's just trying to help. It's just trying to heal us, like very quickly, very like we don't have to do anything but just lay there. It just wants to literally like release all the blockages we have that are holding us back from who we can become. And yeah, it's intense, it's powerful, but the healing is powerful. Once I got into a rhythm with this being and sort of learned how to communicate with it, it became evident to me like, it's like, wow. I would always think, this is so helpful, this is so valuable, this is so considerate, thank you. The way it goes down for me is it will show me, or she will show me, aspects of my character, aspects of myself, in a light that's more easy for me to perceive as being like inauthentic, or maybe selfish, or maybe any kind of egoic sort of motive is revealed to me in a very obvious type of way. And then with my permission, usually when this is happening, I'm like, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, wow, oh, Jesus, I don't like to see that about myself, but it's true, and I can see that. And it's almost like I would put forth the intention, like I'd like to deal with that. And then with your permission, the ayahuasca will go in and start, and this is where it can get kind of with the surgery and a little bit intense, but it goes in and it knows the origin of those manifestations and behaviors, and it's sort of like, almost like if you imagine a bunch of little knots in your body, little like shoelaces all knotted up. It goes in and like unties them for you, and you can feel as this happened the energies underlying and fueling those egoic manifestations and inauthentic expressions of your true self. The origin is like brought to the surface, and it can be sometimes unnerving, like old fears, old emotions, old sadnesses, old grievances, unresolved issues and pains are like sucked up to the surface basically, and you feel it. But then it's like that, it releases just like that. You just like let it do its thing, and it just like it's, I get so emotional because it's such a beautiful thing, man. It just releases them. And you feel great. And you're like, wow, then whoa, this is not just a drug I'm taking. This is a straight up mystical experience I'm going through right now.
I think it's some sort of a chemical gateway. That's what I think. I think there's a gateway in your mind that can lead to some other dimension that's probably there all the time.
If there is a omnipresent, continually existing realm that human beings aren't accessing because of the particular biochemical formulation of consciousness as it is in this point in our evolution, and that we can get there, and it seems as like, I've heard Terence McKenna say it's more real. It's more real. There's stuff in there.
Yes.
And when he talks about them being, what did it make you feel?
Like I knew nothing. That was the most profound aspect. Like all of this stuff that you concentrate on every day is nonsense. And there is some other thing that's connected that's probably influencing this world.
Yeah.
And it's probably what people see when they have near-death experiences, the depictions of the afterlife. I mean, that's probably what it all is. Reality dissolves and you're there. It seems like these lessons that are wrapped up in these visions with communicating entities.
You think there's really something out there? Or?
Like someone say, like, oh, maybe it's all in your head when you trip. Maybe it's not really happening. Okay, maybe. However, the experience is exactly the same. If you really are going into another dimension, you really are experiencing love in its purest form and forgiveness and just 100% wisdom. Like all the bullshit and all the flaws of your thinking and all of the ridiculous aspects of the world around you revealed. Like if you really do go to that dimension and you really do experience these incredibly enlightened beings and they really do instill upon you wisdom and you really do hold on to a few grains of that sand that slips through your finger, you hold on to a little bit of it while you're there. You got handfuls, but you just hold on to a little bit. It's still the same experience.
Yeah, that shit's real, son.
It's real easy to dismiss and say it's all in your imagination. But for someone who has experienced it, it's very difficult to accept. And it's very difficult for you to say that you know for sure that it's all your imagination if you haven't experienced it. I appreciate from an intelligence standpoint someone's perspective on it that hasn't experienced it, but the reality is until you know what you're talking, until you've actually gone into that thing and know how titanically alien it is, you're really just saying things. You're just making noises with your mouth. There's no way you could know. You're not there anymore. You go to a different place. You experience a different reality.
More real than what we normally interpret as reality.
That's the most fucked up part about it, is it's so much crisper and more vibrant and brighter, and then reality itself seems muted in some odd way. One of my trips, one of the most profound ones, it was like these almost like children that were in this dimension. Children that were like infinitely more intelligent than me, but behaved like children and communicated like children. And they would say, I love you 600,500,000 times. Like something like a kid would say. Like, I love you infinity. I love you 50,700,000, like, you know, like that kind of shit. They would say that, and then they would go, look at this. And they kept saying, look at this. And every time they would say, look at this, they would show you something that was so impossibly beautiful, like tears were like flowing down my face. Because I was conscious. I had my eyes closed and I was seeing this and I was conscious, but I was crying because it was so beautiful. And then they would say it again. I love you 600,500,000 times. Look at this. And then they would show you something even more insane, like 1,000,000 times more insane than what you just saw.
What were they
didn't make any sense. It's just, you can't describe it. It's just the fractal nature of the universe embodied in imagery, which also had meaning and love connected to it. So when you were seeing it, you weren't just seeing something beautiful, but you were feeling it. And it was like almost like it was running through your soul, like it was cleansing you as you saw it. Like everything that I saw made me, every time I saw it, every new thing made me love people more, made me love life more, made me more appreciative, made me want to hug more. And then I thought that was over, and then would go, look at this. And then you'd get hit with a new wave. And it was just overwhelming. I'm just crying. Like I couldn't hold it in. It was just so unbelievably intense. Fuck, man, I've had trips that stuck with me for 5 or 6 years, where every day I would think about that trip for 5 or 6 years.
The one message that keeps coming through again and again and again and again and again is that love is what it's all about, and that the more we can approach closely to love and separate ourselves from hate, the better we are going to be and the better the world is going to be. And that's a message that I've received just so many times in my ayahuasca sessions, and particularly when those sessions have focused on times when I have hurt and caused pain to others, and have filled me with a strong motivation, which I don't always live up to, but filled me with a strong motivation not to say hurtful or hard or harsh or cruel words to other human beings, because words hurt.
It is life-changing. You're going to go somewhere else. You're going to see some other beings. You're going to communicate. You're going to learn stuff. It's pretty ridiculous. It's really crazy, because as soon as you close your eyes, it's like you open them someplace else. It's just as real as here. I was in what looked to me like a tanning bed. If you ever seen a tanning bed and how they're vertical lights, that's the way it looked like, except the lights were horizontal and they were colored. They were white, yellow, pink, and orange. And they were all curved. I could see all the way down my body. Then I felt this female presence. It was kind of like a white ball, misty thing. And she was right up here to my right. And she was just hovering there, and she could sense my excitement. I'm like, I want to get blasted out of my body. Like, I'm communicating, like, I want to go, I want to get blasted. And she was like, relax, it's cool, you're gonna go, but not yet. I need to prep you for this. I need to prep you for this journey. She takes one of the lights, and it curves, like there's no hands or anything, but I can tell that she's doing it. One of the lights curves off of the arch and then starts touching me on the side of my face. And I can feel the warmth, and it kind of radiates through my face, and she just moves it and just kind of goes down my neck, and it's very soothing, very comforting. I feel myself get sucked into this tunnel. There's this dark tunnel ahead of me, and I just get sucked right into it. At this point, I no longer feel my body. I don't feel my body. I don't feel the world that I am laying on the bed in. I'm at this new world as this new form. At first, it's really, really fast. I'm just whizzing through this tunnel. And I keep thinking I'm just gonna pop out, but I don't. It eventually starts slowing down and starts getting really windy and loopy. Eventually, the tunnel just gets wider and wider and wider until it opens up into this big canyon. And the first thing I see is another ball of light off in the distance, and I go, holy shit, I remember you from back before I was a human. It was awesome. It was this great reunion feeling. It felt very good. She was excited to see me, and I was excited to be with her. You know that feeling you get if, say, you were in elementary school with someone, you used to hang out with them all the time, and then one day you move away, you go have your own life, you completely kind of forget about them, and then one day you run into them, and all the memories of your childhood flash back in front of you. That's exactly what this was like. When I say she was a ball of light, and I don't know how I knew she was a she, but things have like energy, and there's a female energy, there's a male energy, and you can just get the female vibe from this ball of light. and she was very excited to see me, and she wanted to show me around. So we fly around for what feels like years. Like, it sounds weird to say years, but I remember thinking to myself, I've been here a really, really long time. I feel like I've been here for years. Like, my friends aren't gonna believe me if I tell them years, so I'll just tell them months. Like, I felt like I was there a really, really long time. At one point I thought to myself, I need to ask her something that I can take back to when I'm a human. So as soon as I think I need to ask her something that I can take back to when I'm a human, I immediately go into a pattern of things that I haven't done. I kind of just start complaining in my head. Well, I haven't done certain things with my life that I've been wanting to do, and I haven't done them because I don't have patience. Like, things that take years to do, I always keep putting off because I'm not good with time. And so I'm just kind of complaining in my head. The reason I haven't done things is because of time. And she just goes, what is time if you've already lived through multiple eternities? And I was like, what? And I was like, I had no concept of multiple eternities. Like, I can barely think of an eternity, but it made total sense when she said it, because I have all these memories of before I was a human with her, and all these times that we've spent together. I've already felt like I've spent years at this place with her now, yet I know back in Earthland, where I'm a human, it's only been 5-10 minutes. And that's the one thing I still think about to this day. Like, every day, sometimes when I start thinking about time, that thing will pop in my head as, what is time if you live through multiple eternities? You don't just have one eternity to go through. There's multiple ones that are happening all at the same time, and time becomes irrelevant. Focusing on time is like going to the beach and just staring at one little grain of sand. It's like you're missing the whole fucking point. The beach isn't one grain of sand. The beach is all of these pieces of sand all over the world, all at the same time.
I met my dead grandparents, my great-grandparents, and even years ago, my first girlfriend had an abortion, So I felt like the spirit of that child was there. And it said sorry for murdering a baby, It was fucking emotional. I was crying, I was being sick, but it was beautiful at the same time, I'm so grateful to have got a message from my grandparents and my unborn child, Beautiful.
Over the years, I became very intolerant with my family because I felt I was cheated out of my childhood. And my mom was very rough with me, very coarse with me. And so I became intolerant, very sensitive. And last night I had a very good experience. It was very nice because it was an emotional, touching experience that I was shown that it was not her fault. And I was able to forgive her. And it was really sweet. And I just was so loving towards her, like never before in my life. I was just so loving, and I want to treat her like the best mom in the world right now. I made her a call this morning, and the first thing I just had to tell her, Mom, I love you very much. I love you very much. And she broke down and cried, and so did I.
I came here 2 weeks out of walking out of my doctor's office and telling him I was not going to continue my radiation treatments. I couldn't take what it was doing to my body.
And when you came here, what was your intention when you came to Ribmere the first time?
I had to find a way to kill cancer, get better. I didn't tell anyone in my family that I had quit my treatments. I told them, they thought I was continuing it. And I didn't want them to worry, right? And so I just needed to find a way to take care of it. I left Rhythmia March 15th, and on April 15th, I went back to the doctor and had my CAT scans, and there was no more tumor, no more mass, no more indication of cancer. My doctor was skeptical, so he wanted me to wait a few weeks and come to a PET scan just to be sure, and I did the PET scan, and I'm all clear. I got the all clear.
I'm a veteran. I did 22 years in the military. I was medically retired for PTSD. I was deemed unfit. I've tried college, dropped out 3 times, can't hold a job, being upset about things that shouldn't get a normal person upset, like the jar off of peanut butter, or my daughter trying to show me affection and I try to push her away from me because I don't feel like I deserve affection. Depression, thoughts of suicide, anxiety, anger, and it's hard. It's hard on a marriage, it's hard on my family, and I'm just tired of suffering silently. I left this planet. I remember feeling warm and tingly and really, really relaxed. My arms went limp. I could feel my body lifting up off the mattress and just kind of ascending. And I know it was God.
He touched my forehead and he said, "It's time to die." And I instantly said, "I surrender." And my body vibrated at 10 million beats per second, over and over and over, and everything turned white, and I just exploded into every particle of dust that was in the universe and on the planet. And every single thing in the world loved me at once. And then I opened my eyes, and nothing looked like it did before.
My ayahuasca experience, it opened me up.
And it made me understand that this whole trip, it isn't what you want, it's what you need. And this has been exactly what I need.